welcome to James, the Let's Express line, where we get you in and out as fast as possible with. I have just found out about this video about LTG and his thoughts on pyramids. I'll have the link to it down below, but first, let's watch together and be amazed.
So it says, AI video showing how ancient Egyptians built the pyramids. Off topic. So even AI is depicting that us scrawny, small, mediocre of a species couldn't have possibly picked up giant ton blocks and put them.
They didn't pick them up like that. People were curious. They figured out how they did it. It's pretty cool. Maybe I'll find one of those videos and show it down below as well.
From 430 to 50 feet in the air. And somehow we levitated to the top of the insides of the pyramids and then carved out and painted all those hieroglyphics. Yeah. It's just AI depiction. How'd the dog do it? Probably just like...
God, it's so cringy.
You know dogs do shit. Not sure dogs are afraid of heights.
None of this is how they did it. Do not watch again.
Yo, you know we never asked ChatGPT, can we get a depiction of how the pyramids were built? I wonder what it would show.
They just showed you what ChatGPT thinks. Once again, it's wrong. But try telling that to LTG. Great, amazing content. Remember, he plays fighting games. Remember the FGC, guys.
All right, somebody give me the question so that ChatGPT can, like, decipher what we're trying to do here.
I like the one person chat. This is dumb as hell. Yes, it is. Like, why, LTG, do you think this is good content?
Some say pyramids are made from the top first and down. Depict an image on who built pyramids. Please don't show human beings. It's probably just going to show some stupid ass type 0 civilizations.
That's how ChatGPT works? I've never used it, so I have no idea.
I'm going to do yours next.
AI can be cool in some aspects, but not for this shit.
Adobe and see what happens. It's just showing niggas doing construction on a pyramid that's not 400 feet tall. I guess these niggas have wheels too.
Isn't this over and over again until you get an answer you like?
Yeah, they had to be more civilized. Come on. I guess this is how the pyramids were built, guys. These blocks are also... Alexa, how many tons does each pyramid block weigh?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, each stone block within the pyramid weighs approximately 2.5 tons. Therefore, the total weight of the Great Pyramid of Khufu is approximately 5,750,000 tons.
Alexa, stop. Remember, guys, these blocks are how many tons? Multiple tons apiece.
Egyptians had the wheel, but they weren't used like that. They were pottery wheels. They didn't actually use wheels for carts like that until the 13th dynasty.
Would have broke the wheels of this shit. The world may never know. The wooden wheels are strong. Oh, yeah?
I'll have to get you guys a video of how they actually did it after this, just so you can see yourself.
I don't underestimate anything. I think you're underestimating that they were helped by a higher power.
Here it is.
That's the only bookmarks I got. We question the Egyptians, African, but we don't question the Romans. Because, I mean, that's, you already know, come on, it's Rome. Didn't Rome come over to Egypt and start fucking too? I think, like, everybody came to Egypt to fuck.
That's one way of depicting it.
How were the cathedrals built without power tools? Right.
Now what are you doing, LTG? No cam, no microphone, no nothing. Oh, is he back? There we go. Sounds like he's back. Amazing, thrilling content here, LTG. Just the best.
They released who?
Alright, let me go find an actual video of this so you can see it for yourselves. Alright, here's a quick video showing how they actually built them.
They were built to last, made mostly of stone like limestone, which was used to build the core of the pyramid, while white limestone was used for its outer casing and for the interior walls. Pink granite was used on the walls inside, and basalt and alabaster were sometimes used for the floors. Egypt has sometimes been referred to as the state of stone, so there was never a shortage of it. The basalt they used sometimes came from the Fayum Depression, one of the major oases of the Western Desert, while alabaster was from Luxor, a city on the eastern bank of the Nile. Dennis Stocks, an ancient technology consultant, believed that 45 workers were needed to move a 35,900 pound, and that's 16.3 tons, by the way, block, and 8 people to move a 6,060 pound block.
Yeah, as you can see there, they're not using wheels. They didn't use wheels for this because wheels wouldn't be able to handle that kind of weight.
As he noted in his 2003 book, Experiments in Egyptian Archaeology, Stoneworking Technology in Ancient Egypt, one single pyramid project could have taken between 20 to 30 years to finish building. For the longest time, it was thought that slaves who were at the behest of an evil pharaoh built
Not true, which they are about to say.
the pyramids, and we can blame this fake news first and foremost on Herodotus, the Greek historian who wrote that the Great Pyramid was constructed by 100,000 slaves who labored constantly and were relieved every 3 months by a fresh gang. The BBC further argues that there's no way King Khufu, the 4th dynasty ruler of Egypt responsible for the commissioning of the Great Pyramid, had a body of slaves this large to work for him, and there's no way that all of them could work at the same time. We can also thank Western Hollywood movies in part for perpetuating the myth. Movies like The Ten Commandments, that epic from 1956, and we're not just saying that, it's literally an epic saga that ran for 220 minutes, and portrayed slaves as the builders. Another misconception that circulated is that the Jews built the pyramids. This lie started when the former Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin made the claim when he visited the National Museum of Cairo in 1977. Amahai Mazar, a
Now you're probably saying, wait, what? But that's what we were taught. Yeah, we were taught a lot of things that were wrong.
professor at the Institute of Archaeology at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and Israeli archaeologist, refutes Begin's claim because it simply doesn't make any sense. No Jews built the pyramids because Jews didn't exist at the period when the pyramids were built, Mazar was quoted as saying. Dorothy Ressig, an editor of Biblical Archaeology Review in Washington, D.C., said this falsehood.
You have to realize just how old the pyramids are. Cleopatra is closer to the invention of the iPhone than she is to the pyramids being built. That's how old they are. Like they said in the video, Jews didn't build it because they didn't fucking exist yet. Guys, I don't get it. Why does this Bible say that, I don't know, Mormons built the Great Wall of China? I was taught that Mormons built the Great Wall of China. When the Great Wall of China was built, Mormons didn't exist.
It could have also stemmed from a verse in Exodus, which says something to the effect of, so the Egyptians enslaved the children of Israel with backbreaking labor, and the Pharaoh put them to work to build buildings. That's not exactly the way the verse reads, but you get the picture. Then there are those people out there who believe aliens are the ones who built them, and let's all let out one
Like LTG.
Huge, exhaustive sigh. This far-reaching theory looks a little bit like this. If light moves at 299,792,458 meters per second, and the geographic coordinates for the Great Pyramid are 29.9792458 degrees north, and humans weren't capable of measuring the speed of light with this type of accuracy until 1950, then advanced aliens must have time-traveled back to Earth from the future to build the pyramids. People who believe in the ancient aliens theory also think that aliens built Stonehenge in the UK and other ancient monuments. Look, we're not responsible for what you guys believe and don't believe, but we're saying that graffiti inside the pyramids along with other evidence tell a much different story and have gotten archaeologists, and now us, closer to having a better idea of who built the pyramids, how they would have lived, and how they did it.
Also, they have instructions for how they were built. That's how we know.
The BBC notes that archaeologists have agreed that the workforce behind the Great Pyramid was made up of two teams, the primary workers and the temporary workers. There were about 4,000 primary workers who worked on the quarries and were haulers and masons. They lived with their families in a pyramid village. The temporary team was made up of 16,000 to 20,000 workers who built ramps, shaped tools, made
Let's go, we're in the building, baby.
mortar and were in charge of miscellaneous activities like supplying food, clothing, and fuel. They lived in a separate camp near the pyramid village. The state of the Nile was also important for pyramid builders to take into account. For the building of the pyramid at Giza, Mark Lanner, more on him later, and archaeologist Zahi Hawass believed that a skeleton crew could work on the pyramids throughout the year, but a larger force would labor in the late summer and early autumn when the Nile flooded surrounding fields. Archaeologists haven't discovered all there is to know about the villages and camps where pyramid builders dwelled, but excavations done between 1999 and 2002 by archaeologist Lanner shed more light. We know they slept on mud ramps, which served as a barrack-style bed. These barracks were in galleries, which can be thought of as huge dorms in which up to 2,000 temporary workers would stay. These sleeping galleries also had spaces in the back for cooking and copperworking. In 2016, archaeologist and Egyptologist Yukinori Kawe spoke out to an audience at a taping for Nat Geo Live. In that discussion, he said there was a vast amount of data on the outside of the pyramid, but not enough on the inside or core of the structure themselves, which would shed even more light on the construction techniques. Before going into his discoveries, he laid out 3 hypotheses for how the core of a pyramid would shed light on construction techniques. For example, if the inside of the pyramid was made up of horizontally arranged blocks, these would have been amenable to using a straight ramp. What he found was unlike any of these, though. He and other members of his team, some of which were computer scientists, climbed the Great Pyramid for 2.5 hours and found a notch with a crevice and then a cave that was further in. The team didn't have a laser scanner that would have been too heavy and clunky to carry while climbing up, but they did manage to capture 20 minutes worth of video footage, which they then broke down further into 300,000 3D images.
Which is fantastic and amazing what we can do with the technology nowadays.
Through these 3D image renderings, they found out that the cave was used for packing of sand and debris, something called the chamber method. He noted that it was also used for the construction of Egyptian temples and cities. What did pyramid builders eat? Turns out they had no beef with beef. As much as 21 cattle and 23 sheep were sent to them daily from farms to get their meat fix in. They also ate fish and liked to kick it back with some beers. And while we noted before that these people weren't slaves, pyramid building came at a cost. Discoveries of their bodies show that they suffered from arthritis and their lower vertebrae were impacted by the wear and tear. Ouch. As we mentioned before, an enormous amount of stone was needed to build these pyramids, so the Egyptians had to figure out an efficient way of moving the blocks that they eventually stacked up. An illustration in the 12th dynasty tomb of Jehuti-Hotep of 172 men pulling
Like I said, they literally have instructions on the inside of the pyramids telling you how they do this.
a 60-ton alabaster on a sledge has given experts a better sense of how they went about it. Those sledges they drag across the hot desert sand were simply wooden planks with upturned edges, so not the most sophisticated but still clever. To make their lives easier, they'd wet the sand to make it easier to drag the sledge across. And they were old school when it came to measuring. They didn't use rulers but a cubit, which was equal to the length from your tip of the middle finger to your elbow, and a hand was a unit that served as the guide, the width of your hand with the thumb on the side. Cubits served them when they dug post holes at 10 cubits along the base outline and laid out the site in a grid. Pyramid builders were precise in that they wanted to make sure the sides of the structures ran parallel to the north, south, and east-west axes according to how stuff works. To achieve this, they had to rely on nature instead of using compasses, which weren't at their disposal. The movements of the stars helped them identify which way was north, and then they used sighting rocks and circles to identify the rising and setting stars or the sun's shadow. Finding out the other cardinal directions using lines and right angles then became a piece of cake. They were certainly a resourceful bunch. In his book, Engineering the Pyramids, Dr. Richard Perry hypothesizes that they might have also used a cradle-like machine that suspended the rocks and allowed them to be rolled by a few people. The Obayashi Corporation, a Japanese construction company, went so far as to conduct a test in 1996 to see if a 2.5-ton block could be dragged by 18 men over 18 meters per minute, and the study proved that it could be done. In 2013, French archaeologist Pierre Tallet and his team discovered the papyrus writings of a pyramid building official simply aptly named Merer, in a cave in Wadi al-Jarf, an area on the Red Sea coast. And these gave an unprecedented look at how sophisticated the teams worked, specifically when it came to obtaining copper. And their method involved an L-shaped jetty that was 200 meters long. According to Merer's writings, they'd use this harbor to protect a fleet of cargo boats that would sail to the Sinai Peninsula, where copper would be mined before returning to Wadi al-Jarf, then using the materials for the construction of the Great Pyramid. Now, using all this, you can whip out your impressive pyramid building knowledge at the next cocktail party when the topic comes up, or simply slap your silly friend who thinks the aliens built them. You make the choice. The pyramid building brain-eating aliens that secretly run our show and pay us to convince you that they didn't build the pyramids tell us that you would enjoy learning more about ancient Egypt. So
yes, there you go. It was not aliens, wasn't giants, just hard work and innovation by the workers and the people around them. LTG, I am so glad I found about this because holy shit. I didn't know you thought this. This is great. I love it. But with that much, you guys go. Thank you for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and have one hell of a day.